What's up, everybody? Ryan Sanders here with Project Fresh, checking in for our next week here, the second full week of 2021. I trust that everybody had a great weekend. Hope you guys are staying safe out there, staying well. I can't tell you enough how, um, what would I say, how grateful I am, but also how um, conscious I am about getting the message out regarding fitness, nutrition, health, everything I talk about on this channel and more. And the reason why that is particularly the case, our health is quite important in usual, I'll put quotes around this, usual cases. But with the ever growing rise of COVID, it has really brought about quite a substantial focus on our health in general. So January 8th was what, 3 days ago? So that would have been Friday. Um, and if I look at this really quickly, that was 300,000 cases of COVID. Unfortunately, that same day we had 38, and the day before 4,100 people pass away, which is crazy. I think that's been compared to 9/11, almost two 9/11s happening in one day, effectively due to COVID, which is quite crazy, and that happening every day in general. Um, and this isn't a virus that we can control. It's hopefully something we can get a full run of antibodies working against it as soon as possible. I know that's the push here in the States, but it is really becoming more and more apparent. I'm actually I wouldn't say personally coming into contact, but I'm starting to hear more stories frequently, even of people I work with. Um, Probably three different stories over the holidays alone of people who were either they thought they were exposed, or they were close to being exposed, or have been exposed, have tested positive. Actually, I can probably say at least five cases of some level of exposure to COVID-19. And the reason why I bring that up not isn't so much to talk about the virus or talk about anything along those lines. I think if you want to get that information, it's good to go to WHO, CDC, World Health Organization, CDC, to get your information there. But I felt it necessary to talk about it today because there's a lot of details coming out about who's more susceptible to COVID-19. And a lot of those character traits of susceptibility to the virus deal with a lot of what we talk about, preventable areas in our health that can set us up for other things. So, weakening of any of the defenses in the body, our filtration, our immunity, our energy, our even our mentality are all things that we can work on proactively. That when those are all any and all of those are down, stress is high. We can become more susceptible, and that includes being not only susceptible to your typical heart diseases, cancers, inflammation being the onset of those things, and so much more. Also, this virus that has been going for almost a year now. If we even track back to where it started in China, it has been just about a year now, because I think it started in January, if I'm not mistaken. So, of course, March will be the full year for the United States when it hit Seattle and hit our area, Bay Area, when that cruise ship came in. So let's see. So promised last week that I would start talking about it. I may not get to this in all one video, and I may not schedule this weekend, Friday and Saturday. I actually have a pretty busy schedule, so I may need to push my actual training around sugar, and it won't be just sugar, but the specifics on sugar and some more deep dive on this. I'll get a good technical side. I'll get a good conversational side. I like to make my intensives, my webinars live and interactive, so we can have conversation and produce hopefully a result, or a better functioning perspective around whatever we cover. I'm just going to give kind of a 3,000 or excuse me 30,000 foot view today on sugar, but I wanted to kind of frame today with what I just shared because it really is important. What we eat, and how we move our body are literally the two things that can determine the quality of your life, duration of life. No one has control over. None of us really know when we're going to go, right? If you have that insight, then it sounds like God blessed you in that, and I hope that with that knowledge, you are working very diligently towards your vocation, whatever He created you to do. I say that a little tongue in cheek, but who knows? Maybe there is someone out there who knows when their final day is, and so if that is the case, if we happen to cross paths, I hope that you're working, going for it, and doing so in grace and favor too. Because I don't think even if life is limited, we should still have joy and peace, right? And not be on the grinder all the time. Um, that's probably a message more so for myself. So, sugar. In the description, I have two of the articles that I'm using for today to talk about sugar. This stems from a question one of our meetup members asked about as far as sugar, dealing with it, the addictive nature of it, how to address it, how to address sugar in general. I propose the idea that just like anything else, you can use sugar or food as a coping mechanism to deal with stress, trauma, anxiety, fear, exhaustion, halt. Uh, let's see, hungry, angry. I always forget the L. It's lethargic or lazy or um, shoot. I don't know if it's one of those two, but T is tired. So if you've ever heard that acronym HALT, good one to remember. If you're feeling any of those and it's time to halt, get some sleep, get some food, keep it simple, so to speak. But long story short, maybe it's lazy or lethargic. I can't remember if it's something else for the L. But long story short, um, the idea here for today is that I proposed last Monday that sugar could be something that you could definitely use to address any of those things, any of those issues, challenges, if you will. And over time, like anything else, that if you get too much of it, you can become dependent on it. I propose that sugar could be something that could become addictive. Well, I want to give you guys facts. I don't want to just give you a proposal and speak as if it's truth. So I will say very quickly, I want to make a reference to the first. This would be, I believe, the second link in the description, so you guys can go back and look at it. It is an article, oh, excuse me, not an article, but a study coming from neuroscience behavioral department. Three individuals studied this from, does it say where they were? I'm not seeing where it is. It's got all the information in there, but Nicole Avina, Pedro Rada, and Bartley Hobel, I believe. Again, the information is in the description. The first piece was they were getting into the question of whether or not sugar can be a substance of abuse and lead to a natural form of addiction. Food addiction seems plausible because brain pathways that evolve to respond to natural rewards are also activated by addictive drugs. Sugar is noteworthy as a substance that releases opioids and dopamine. So we're getting into neurotransmitters or neurochemicals, and thus might be expected to have addictive potential. So that was in their abstract. I literally read that verbatim from the abstract. And then just great. I would check this all out. There's a lot of other links to other studies surrounding what they got into here. But in the conclusion, I do like this particular piece that they had in their conclusion. They tested rats, or mice. I think it was, let's see. I think it was rats in this case. Which is pretty standard for these kinds of things. This particular piece here I thought was good. in the conclusion, the reviewed evidence supports the theory that in some circumstances, intermittent access to sugar can lead to behavioral and neurochemical changes. Again, there's that word neurochemical, changes that resemble the effects of a substance of abuse. According to the evidence in rats, those rats, intermittent access to sugar and chow is capable of producing a dependency. So, dependency would mean that if you don't have it, there's going to be problems. You're dependent upon it. And basically, anything that alters the mood or the chemistry of the brain can be considered a addictive substance. That can be something you ingest, that can be situational, that can be emotions themselves that can put you in a place that alters the chemistry of the brain that you can become dependent upon. Very interesting to get into those kinds of things. Been doing a lot of study and work on that over the last year. It's over a year now, but for sake of getting to a point and getting more so to the point, the other article, which is the first in this case, is consumption of sugar, just like anything else, water you can overconsume. Um, Too much of anything can be a problem. Okay, so too much sugar can definitely be a problem. Obesity and diabetes is well documented. Okay, I think we all know that quite well. Those are two leading areas where excessive sugar, especially added sugar, um, manufactured processed foods that can sneak sugar in, like they put sugar into bread, for example. Why does bread need sugar? That doesn't make any sense, especially if you're going to put a bunch of jelly all over it or something else, cheese or whatever you like with your bread. Like, why do we need sugar in bread? Well, maybe that might be a part of making it cheaper or the processing of it. I don't know specifically, but check your bread label next time you go buy it. You'll see some sugar in it. Certain breads, you'll even see high fructose corn syrup, which is another processed sugar or food that is definitely not good for the system. But more or less, it is well documented. It covers this in this Harvard.edu Health Heart, the Sweet Danger of Sugar article. Okay, so as far as the heart, and I think this particularly covers a majority of the body, one of the aspects of consuming too much sugar is inflammation. Sugar causes inflammation in the gut. Um, let's see, what else? Can raise blood sugar. This particular article references raised blood pressure and increased chronic inflammation are both pathological pathways to heart disease. Um, Excess consumption of sugar, especially sugary beverages. For example, if you looked at a Coke or a soda of some kind that has sugar in it, usually one of those contains easily 50, if not more, grams of sugar, and the recommended amount of added sugar to your nutrition on a daily basis is right around, I've seen, about 30 to 33 grams a day. So that gives you an idea. If you drink a full, I believe that's 16 ounce, one of the bottles, not a can, but the typical bottle that you find in a vending machine, you've consumed about, if it's 33, 17, that's half. So you've consumed about 100 and roughly 150% of your normal or your daily recommended amount of added sugar. So you've consumed all your sugar for today plus 50% for tomorrow. If you have two, now you've consumed sugar for 3 days. And depending on how much you drink it, all right, or you can do the math. Ryan, I drink the non-sugar one. Well, pay attention to what else is in there because there's still a lot of additives, preservatives, and other things in sodas and sweet drinks and things that it might be zero sugar, but there might be other things in there to pay attention to as well. That's beside the point. But inflammation is a big one. Blood pressure also is a big one. There's also issues with not only that, but fatty liver disease has been associated with high consumption of sugar. As I said before, diabetes. Of course, these things are related to higher risk for heart attack and stroke. And if you've had a family member who has suffered either of those situations, or even potentially both, you know how devastating a heart attack or a stroke can be. And at the end of the day, this may not seem like something to be concerned about initially. But the more you consume, or let's say the more that you compound in your consumption over longer periods of time, the more you can set yourself up. And I wouldn't be surprised if we looked at maybe even in the last 10 years where type 2 diabetes has gone up, where obesity overall, as well as in children, percentages per population have increased. Consumption of sugar and other processed foods have contributed a lot to that. Now, I want to talk a little bit more on the other side of what sugar is and is not. There's really nothing to sugar that's beneficial for the body, other than it being a very, very quick energy for the body. Burns very fast in this case. It's very simple for the most part. Um, there's really not much to it that's beneficial for the body. So if you're not using it, you're going to most likely store it. And again, hence why we get obesity. We're storing to our body. So our fat is growing on the body. And more importantly, in the context, it is a carb. So in the three macros, proteins, carbs, and fats, it is in the carb category. There's nothing within that carb as far as fiber, as far as other components of what a carb would be for you, for us, for beneficial factors. There's really nothing to it. So there's no value to it as far as working on your overall nutrition, health, and lifestyle. Excuse me. All right. So, Ryan, maybe I'm dependent on sugar. Ryan, I'm trying to kick this sugar habit. I'm always snacking on sweet things. I'm always desiring. How do I get out of this pit I've dug myself in? I want to leave us with some hope. I want to leave us with some perspective. Like I said, I will return to this topic again in the future. I would say number one, become extremely aware of where your sugar is coming from. And I don't mean that in the sense of like obsess about it or beat yourself up about it or um, make it something bigger than it's not. I want to keep it simple. I say this a lot. I'm probably going to say this even more so throughout this year, especially this particular message is becoming very clear and very formed and very specific in my mind. A lot of what we're talking about on this channel is simple. However, as simple as it may be, it does not mean that it's easy. And I'm sharing that with pretty much every client I have the opportunity to talk to, whether it's fitness, nutrition, sleep, water, whatever it may be that's going to improve your lifestyle, give you a better quality of lifestyle. I will tell you this, it is simple. However, it is not easy. And there are emotional, spiritual, mental, perhaps other situations going on in the background that are going to influence you in a way that's going to make this simple process difficult. So I want to make sure that that is said very clearly. But become extremely aware of where your sugar is coming from. So referencing again this Harvard EDU, 42% in the food groups overall, the highest one, 42%, is coming from soda, energy drinks, and sport drinks. Yes, Gatorade, Powerade, and other sports drinks are high in sugar. So there's a reason why they advertise you drinking that while you're working out or after, because it's a nice, quick source to replenish the body. But if you're sitting down thinking you're having 5 Gatorades a day and not moving your body, that's not going to do well for you. So I want you to keep that in mind. Um, Coming in at 12%, grain-based desserts. Um, Fig Newtons, for example, really good. It's fig, natural fruit, delicious fruit, tons of sugar. A grain-based product, Fig Newtons, cereals, all kinds of, well, they actually put ready to eat cereals further down the list. So I'll leave that out, but grain-based desserts, okay. Fruit drinks, 8.5%, and which is separate from soda, energy, and sports drinks. So now we've got two different drink categories. And by the way, sugar is most easy. Let's see, well, let's say it's very easy to consume sugar via drinks. Quick calories, quick sugar, right into the system. And if you're not utilizing it, it's going to be working probably not in your favor. Dairy desserts, number 4. Candy, number 5. ready-to-eat cereals. Number 6, sugars, honey. Number 7, 8 is tea. There are certain brands of tea that have sugar in them. Number 9, yeast breads. And number 10, as I mentioned before, breads. Number 10, syrups and toppings. So that was something from the National Health Nutrition Examination Survey back in 2005, 2006. Okay, so become number one, become aware of where your sugar sources are coming from. Number 2, start to track and set a goal that seems reasonable for you. I've had this conversation a lot with many clients. Ryan, anytime I'm out and about, I stop and get myself a drink from 7-Eleven, or I go through the drive through at the whatever the fast food joint is on the way home. I get a big soda and a dessert or some food or whatever, a lot of sugars, and I find myself drinking this on a regular basis or eating X, Y, and Z on a regular basis. How do I deal with this? Cold turkey, especially if you might think that you have some dependency on sugar, may or may not be the best decision for you. If you feel like it's completely and totally out of control, I am not the guy that would help you. I encourage you to get some professional help to support you in the process of working on the dependency. If you feel it's gotten to that point, that no matter what, you can't control yourself, you need to have sugar in your life for the day to go right. If it's at that point, I strongly encourage you to get some support, some professional help in that regard. Please let us know. You can send us a private message and just say, hey, this is something we're struggling with. Can you keep us up in prayer and check in with us? Or can I be a part of your community? We'd love to have you to support you in that process. I believe everybody should have that opportunity to be supported in a situation like that. It's very difficult to do that alone and know you're not alone. There are lots of people who have this challenge. If it wasn't the case, they wouldn't be writing articles and doing, professional academic studies about it. So, okay, so one, becoming aware of where that sugar is coming from, because sometimes we may not really consciously, we may subconsciously know, but not consciously know, bringing it to the front of the brain so we're more aware of it. 2, track it. Again, doing this in the best loving way possible to self. Number 3, get some support. I just said that more or less. Get some support. Get a team who is going to be on your side, who's going to be right on your back, supporting you, holding you up, loving you, encouraging you, motivating you, supporting you, so you don't give up. We are so much more likely to be successful in these kinds of things when we have someone with us to support us through, to love us no matter what, to support us no matter what, to encourage us. You may not be able to find it in your family. You may not be able to find it amongst your friends. You may have to go somewhere else. We're here for you, as we said. Maybe there's someone else that you've run into. Maybe you might, I'm not sure if there's like a sugar anonymous. There's a lot of anonymous type sugar addiction. Anonymous? Is there such a thing? Let me see here. There's a SAM HSA, Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration. So SAMSHA.gov is one. Let's see what else. And then there's a sugar addiction. So there's some different things online, and I don't necessarily want to get into this. Would be more content for later. But wherever you decide to find your source, your info, or your support from, I encourage you to do it. Again, if you want to drop a note in the chat or shoot us a message, all of our information is on our page. We've got Facebook and Instagram. You could shoot us a quick DM, whatever it is there. We'd be glad to be with you in the journey too. But ultimately, other than all the impacts physiologically on the body and dealing with it in the context of coping, the other side of the story is, let's say, you're trying to slim up, you're trying to really get your body to a place that you like how it looks, you like how it feels, you like how it performs. Remember, sugar is an inflammatory. So if you're dealing with bloating, if you're dealing with excess body fat, particularly around the midsection, if you're having trouble sleeping, those kinds of things, that is something that you might want to look into as far as your sugar consumption. Also, I'll note this really quick. If alcohol is trouble for you, there is quite a bit of alcohol, or excuse me, sugar in alcoholics. I'm actually surprised that of those food groups and of those 10 things, there wasn't anything based on alcohol in there. Maybe they might consider it fruit drinks, but particular sweet white wines, for example, is an area. Mixers obviously have a lot of sugar. In the way in which cocktails are drank, there can be a lot of sugar involved in alcohol in drinks as well. And as we know, if you don't know, we have seen astronomical rises in alcohol with COVID. So if alcohol is of high consumption for you right now, keep that in mind. That part of that, other than the alcohol side of it, there is the sugar side of that that could be also impacting you as well. And so, if we're looking at it from a perspective of how it impacts our lifestyle, again, our exercise, how our body looks, feels, and performs, our ability to sleep, how our energy levels are, etc., throughout the day. And maybe you're just having a really hard time shaving up some fat in the midsection, you're working out intensely hard, you think you got the food on point, this might be an area for you to spend some more time on. Okay. Become aware of the sugar source, track it, and get some support to help you through. All right, guys. So that's it for today. We'll be back on Wednesday. I don't particularly have, oh, yeah, that's right. I erased my board. I don't have a topic set for Wednesday yet, but I will say apologies for last Wednesday. My sheet that I had was not working. Um, one of the calculations in the sheet was not working on numbers on my Mac, and I don't have access to Excel anymore. My previous, what is it? It's not a registration. It's a access to Excel. I forget what it's called off the top of my head. Expired, and it doesn't work anymore on this particular computer. So I have a couple options. I can do it on my other computer and rerun that, and also have some of the calculations and stuff done, so it can be nice and streamlined. I kind of felt like I was in a boat in the middle of the ocean without a paddle, trying to give you guys some insight into finances. I'm terribly sorry for that, but I will make sure I get another video up here soon on finances and also give you guys an update on the progress. It's unfortunate that we only have 600 or so coming in from the government as far as supporting us. It would be nice if we had some more support like other countries in this time where there's been a lot of unemployment and other things going on. I know that is very politically charged there too, so I don't want to get into that too much. But with this new administration, we might see a little bit more. And if it is something you can do, and debt is something that's very much so limiting you. In fact, I've even seen this in a few articles. Reducing your debt, especially if you have high interest on balances right now, is a great way to help you eliminate cash flow. So, like I said, we'll get into that topic again in the future. So stay tuned for that. But anyway, I've almost gone 30 minutes. I was supposed to be done about 14 minutes ago. Hope you guys are having a great week. As always, love and appreciate the support. You can connect with us on Facebook at facebook.com/elevate your fresh. You can connect with us the same on Instagram, instagram.com/elevate your fresh. Please like, subscribe, and keep connected with us all the way through. I think we had one more subscriber over the weekend, so thank you so much for continuing to support our page. We are 26 away from branding our page, and there will be some news coming soon, probably in the next couple weeks, about something we're rolling out and offering that anybody can get access to as long as you have a phone and the internet. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be very exciting as well. All right, guys, hope you have a great one. We'll see you next time. Take care.